All right then, it's good to see you all again. Fill back up with coffee, belly full of brownies. I saw a lot of people taking maybe more than one brownie as well. The sweet stuff's going down well today, isn't it? This is our final block of sessions now in the afternoon. And first up, we've got Bethan Williams-James, a solution consultant from Adobe. And she specializes in helping merchants transform their commerce experiences. Having spent her years prior to Adobe, she working in luxury fashion retail space at brands such as Liberty London and I.D. Sarrieri. Challenging me there on the pronunciation. She has been able to experience and influence digital transformation firsthand, and she does the same thing now at Adobe. So, definitely somebody who's been hands-on and then bringing that through now with a consultancy. So to show you how personalized experiences can make and break a sale for you, please welcome Bethan.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Bethan, if you've not met me before. Hello. I feel very honored to be on this stage today, as I have been at many of these as a customer and as an Adobe person. So, yeah, let's talk commerce and personalization. But before we get started, you may have seen some marketing lately about this movie. I'm sure you've all seen it, and it's being released in a few days. Who in the room is likely to go watch Barbie? Raise your hand. Okay, good. That's a good amount of people watching Barbie, okay. So, next question. Who in this room is likely to go and see Oppenheimer? Okay, I think a few more hands there, that's okay. Thank you for sharing that with me. With a very simple ask, one question, well, two questions, I suppose. We've created 4 groups of people in this room. We've created a group of people who are going to see Barbie, a group of people who are going to see Oppenheimer, a group of people who maybe are going to go see both, and potentially a group of people who are seeing neither. So this simple question teaches us a lot about the importance of preferences. And we do this type of data collection with our customers on a daily basis, maybe minutely basis in some regards. And we do that all for personalization, right? We do that all in the name of personalization. But personalization is so much more than just collecting some data. What if you were to hear that there were great reviews about Barbie? Maybe you'd change your mind and want to go see Barbie as well, or instead. Maybe your friend really wants to go see Oppenheimer, and therefore you've changed your mind. This, again, is the influence of data within that circle. And actually, that data is now changed. You probably need some business logic to help organize it and put you back into the correct group, whatever it is. But if you've already changed your customer journey to map a group, how do we just keep all of this stuff going? So as I said, it is a lot more than data collection. And it takes a lot more to do personalization, let alone at scale. And I'm sure the majority of you in this room know why. I think it was put really well in the keynote this morning that we have a tendency to lean towards short-term decisions instead of long-term decisions, right? And a long-term decision is looking at all of the pieces of personalization at scale and getting all of these things right. These are all elements, right? Once your data's collected, you need to store it. You need to keep it organized. You need to keep it compliant. You then need to match it with valuable actions. But what's a valuable action to one is not to the other. So then you need to track that. You need to create multiple potential journeys. And then you need to run all of this efficiently at a one-to-one basis at scale. Now, if you're already exhausted, I feel your pain. I have been in this position of thinking that personalization at a group level, okay, let's put my customers into those groups similar to Barbie and Oppenheimer, like we said. Okay, we can say to the Barbie customers, here's the new movie, and the Oppenheimers. And in some instances, yeah, that does a job. But it isn't truly tailored. It isn't one-to-one personalization. And whilst it's much more easily scalable, it isn't going to give the same results. So with scalability, obviously, you get complexity. So bringing in data science, AI, machine learning, all of that good stuff is really going to help you provide those data-driven decisions and enable one-to-one personalization. So why even consider one-to-one personalization in the first place? I've just given you an example of how we can do customer grouping and, you know, manage personalization at a broader level. But the main reason is because of the consumer impact. The impact on business performance that you can see on screen now. So consumers are 80% more likely to purchase when you offer them a personalized experience. They're more likely to get actively annoyed when they don't have one, a whole 76% of them. And 40% of consumers are likely to spend more when those experiences are personalized. Consumers expect businesses to meet their individual demands, and relevancy is really at the heart of this. I'm sure at this point I am not saying anything that a lot of you in the room already know, but relevancy is really the key. And if we consider that Barbie versus Oppenheimer poll, we can imagine who each film might be for. But you never know. There could be young girls and boys out there who played with Barbie dolls, or even, you know, 30-year-old women who still like Barbie. There's big Christopher Nolan fans out there as a director, and Cillian Murphy as an actor, or just 30-year-old nerd girls who are interested in the formation of the atomic bomb. Preferences are the key part here. But not only do individuals have preferences, they have circumstances. So say, for example, a user has a child who has purchased a Barbie product before. If we know this about the user, we can inform our messaging to promote the Barbie film. Perhaps they'd be more likely to click on that Barbie banner because of that affiliation of having a child that has shown interest. So it's all about preferences and circumstances that can really drive the concept of relevancy. And linking our past shopping behaviors, what's in our favorites, in our wish list, perhaps what offers or campaigns that I have engaged with before. All of these areas of data come together to enable all of our customers to provide that relevancy, that really key relevancy. Now, look, again, what we're describing here is basic. You're all aware of why, or potentially, you know, the impact that it can have. But just to prove that that was the case, McKinsey did a survey and said this quote at the bottom here, that consumers now view personalization as the default standard. Now, that is not the default standard across their fashion retail experiences. That is their default standard across every vertical, every imagination of a commerce experience, whether you're B2B, B2C, D2C, and everything in between. This is across all verticals, and, you know, the retailers in the room, the fashion retailers, the gift retailers, the, you know, merchandise stores, they do personalization well. They were the first to really adopt it, but now we need to get bigger. B2B businesses are starting to ingrain this type of mentality as well. So that McKinsey research that I mentioned, it also showed that companies that grow faster drive 40% more of their revenue from personalization than slower growing companies. Basically, this means that personalization has a significant impact on business growth. Again, I'm sure we're all aware of these things in the room, and these key metrics that we all look at, such as conversion and improvement on revenue and average order value, they're all seeing massive gains. But particularly when we are looking at one-to-one personalization, we are now enabling all of our customers through Adobe Commerce and other platforms with the ability to scale one-to-one personalization. And this data that you see here, so our 10x improvement in conversion, our 8x improvement in revenue, and that 9x improvement in AOV, this data was captured by Incisive. And Incisive took a set of businesses who did no personalization, and they then started to introduce one-to-one personalization, and these were the results. Now, these stats are obviously impressive, but how about customers who are personalizing, specifically with Adobe Commerce? As I am from Adobe, I guess I better mention it. So we have chosen a couple of examples here of customers and how they are using Adobe Commerce and out-of-the-box features to personalize. They are using out-of-the-box features and seeing a real positive impact. And some of them are quite basic. So starting with localization, you may think that localization is a pretty obvious one, right? But actually, more often than not, we see businesses using the same content across certain markets, just translated into a different language. If any of you have seen the French Barbie film poster and its terrible translation, which led to a little bit of a mishap, you can all Google it afterwards if not. Brands are doing that. They're just taking the same content. So if you're an American company or you're a UK company and you are celebrating a holiday that isn't in another country, then we're really lacking that relevancy. So 66% of customers say encountering content that isn't relevant to their market will impact them so much that they wouldn't make a purchase. 66%, which I was, surprised, but also not surprised at. If we can speak to these specific markets in their terms, in their language, which we seem to be able to do, but also in terms that are relevant for them, learn from that Barbie poster mistake, where the direct translation means something very different to what you wanted it to mean, and learn about how you can localize the marketing. Now, some great examples of core customers that we have here that are absolutely smashing it when it comes to that local geo-focused content are HP and AB InBev. So HP is actually specifically in the Asia-Pacific market. So they have a large difference of cultures within that sect. So they have to speak to those people in certain ways. They have to cover for the language, but they also need to be mindful of relevancy. And AB InBev, again, is talking to brands using global reference architecture, which a lot of you will know about, that can do the language and the currency, but really content is what we're talking about here. So, second of all, are AI-powered tools. So, Adobe Sensei powers today several of the features within the platform that are out of the box. They're SaaS services. And at the moment, we've got product recommendations, live search, and intelligent merchandising. So these three features use the core Adobe Sensei that is used across every single product within the Adobe stack to inform our customers' purchasing behavior. Examples of brands that are using product recommendations and live search, clearly some big brands there. And really, when we look specifically at product recommendations, we see a 20% increase in revenue from customers when they are using Adobe Commerce product recommendations. When our customers are using live search, and for those of you in the room who have used live search, it's worth stopping in at the roadmap session and keeping updated with the live search roadmap, because it's come a long way from where it started. We're covering B2B now. We've got a lot more coverage for that. But actually, we are now seeing a 15% increase on conversion rate with customers that are using live search. I think there was a feeling when it launched that, how do you stack up against the competition? And maybe it took a little bit of time to get there, but that 15% increase is really showing that we are there. We're covering both B2B and B2C use cases, and all of these tools can be used in a headless fashion too. So on top of that, we expanded the Adobe Sensei areas, and essentially we have included intelligent merchandising now. So last but by no means least, we have many customers using segmentation. Of course, you have segments out of the box with commerce, but additionally, something we added in this year is our Adobe Experience Platform connector. So Volkswagen and Rite Aid today are using the commerce segments, but we need to supercharge those segments. And that is where the Adobe Experience Platform Connector comes in. When it comes to why we did this, you can see the three use cases that we wanted to I guess, address. Lots of customers had siloed data all over the place. And we wanted to allow them to bring it together so it could inform their commerce experiences. Secondly, once you've got all that data, how do you then analyze it and come up with those valuable actions that we were talking about? And finally, how do we deliver then on those journeys, those valuable actions? How do we deliver that in an easy and efficient way? Well, what we did was worked on the Adobe Experience Platform Connector. And really what you should see is us looking at those personalization at scale challenges that I mentioned at the beginning. That is really where we focused. Now, as I've said throughout this, a lot of this is basics, but sometimes we have to go back to basics in order to innovate. And if you look at our latest innovation, which is this connector between our platform data, then you can see that actually the problems were the basic problems that we started with. Now, who else is doing stuff that's cool and innovative? Well, you can see here some examples. Again, I've chosen 3 types of ways that customers are innovatively personalizing today. First of all, the replication of personal shopping. Whether you experience it as personal shopping in a luxury brand, or you're going into EE because you need an upgrade, and he's just said that because that's what I need to do tomorrow, and hopefully I remember to do that. You need help sometimes, and the digital experience hasn't always allowed for that. But now we see brands like Zalando and Macari who are using ChatGPT for customer support and giving personal support, really supporting product recommendations that, again, are relevant. Another example of something that we have seen a large number of brands is using augmented reality. Now, when I spoke about this earlier to one of my colleagues, there were like so many examples that people were sharing with me, and I was like, oh, damn, I didn't put those on the slides. But the ones that I've got on the slides are ones that I've personally used. But it clearly shows how many of us have already begun to use them. Whether it's virtual try-on of clothes, which H&M are supporting, whether it's virtual swatching of makeup. The concealer I'm wearing today, I used Space NK's Color Matcher to buy it, essentially. And the experience was seamless. Dior also offer the same color matching using AR. And then Amazon and IKEA are doing a similar thing by allowing you to place furniture in your home and in certain locations. So really reducing returns rates, focusing on how you can bring that experience of shopping back into the home with these two, both personal shopping and augmented reality. Then finally, and I didn't know that Georgia was going to do the 3 Ps, but this last one speaks very specifically to planet and profit. Predictive orders. Lots of F&B businesses are doing predictive orders because it means they don't have wastage. It also means that they don't have money wastage. So examples of brands that are doing this today, Starbucks and Domino's. So let's be clear. Personalization doesn't just benefit customers. You've seen lots of statistics, and there were quite a few, apologies, throughout this presentation, focusing on increased revenue, AOV, so on and so forth. But I have a few more stats, as you can see, for you. Now, marketing people in the room, ears prick up now. These stats talk to you. Because the additional benefit of personalisation is, of course, it can reduce your marketing spend. It is going to increase the ROI and also decrease the cost that it takes to serve customers. So our friends, again, at McKinsey, identified that through personalisation, marketing and sales costs can reduce between 10 to 20%. The reduction in cost with the increase in revenue helps our little friend return on investment, of course. And Boston Consulting Group actually calculated that this would be roughly a 2x increase in your ROI. And additionally, Adobe has also established through our own insights that personalisation will then decrease the cost to serve overall by 6 to 10%. If you are automating your personalisation one-to-one to focus that spend in the areas that are converting for the people that are converting, then you will be getting the most revenue back from those marketing spends. It's fairly simple. You can ensure that you're talking to the right customer in the right way, on the right channel, and making the omni-channel marketing most effective. So, to finish off, let's return to Barbie versus Oppenheimer for a second. Think about the millions of dollars that have gone into marketing these two films. Everybody in this room has a preference. There are clear assumptions that one can make about which channels or which audiences might work, but do you think Hollywood execs are basing millions of dollars on assumptions? No, I don't think so. So think about that fourth customer group, the one that doesn't want to go and see either. Who hasn't engaged, perhaps, in content like either of these films before? They may be converted, but do we want to spend money on trying to convert them on a low conversion marketing channel or one with a low ROI? Probably not. Do we even want to bother if it's not relevant? If we've collected all the data on our customers, have a strong personalisation strategy that is long-term, referring back to George's mention earlier, these individuals who are interested in these will be spoken to in a way that they want to, and money will not be wasted in places where it won't convert. So, I hope you've all taken something away from today, even if it is just the fact that there are actually cinemas that are doing Barbie and Oppenheimer as a double header, I found out. So if you want to go see them, I am not working for their marketing, but clearly should be. And thank you so much.